Welcome to LSC, It's Sports Time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have Wayne Gomes with me, former Major League Baseball pitcher and all-around good guy. Glad you could take time to come in and see us.
Anytime, Bob. I'm glad you guys invited me.
We want to go back before you went to Phoebus High School and you started playing sports, okay. Baseball wasn't your only sport.
No, I played a variety of sports. My mother was very adamant of me being kind of more of a well-rounded person. You know, I was into piano. I was into a bunch of different things. I played a lot of basketball. I played a lot of football, and I played baseball. It was every sport that was seasonal.
Right.
I was pretty much in. So yeah. Like I said, I did a lot of different sports, and I enjoyed all. I enjoyed all of them. Once I got to high school, I kind of narrowed down to where I was.
When did you play Pony League and Little League?
I played Little League and Pony League. I played right down at Phoebus Little League.
Right.
My father was in the military, so he had us traveling all over the country. We were in Germany. I played ball there. He got stationed to Spangdahl in Germany. He got stationed at Edwards Air Force Base. We went there. So it was a good experience. We got to see the country and play baseball at a variety of different places. Right.
Well, when did you find out pitching was your thing? Was that evident right away, or?
Well, it was evident because I couldn't hit. I think they made a decision for me when I got to high school and I got to college. When I got to college, it was definitely evident. And if I played for a little higher program than when we had at Phoebus, because Phoebus, it hasn't really been known, for their baseball.
Right.
I probably wouldn't have hit there either. But it was kind of by default that more likely they only had 9 or 10 players a lot of the time. So I think if it was in a perfect scenario, I would have never hit in high school. I would just
you'd have had a DH.
I would have just hit. Yeah, I would have just pitched. Yes.
Now, when you left Phoebus, you graduated in 90.
90.
Yes, got recruited to Old Dominion, but take us through a little bit of that recruiting process. That's a little different.
Yeah, the process now was a lot more complicated than it was then. I wasn't the blue chip, 5-star recruit coming out of high school. I didn't have too many choices. The only in fact, the only place I had been asked to go to was the Newport News Apprentice School. Nobody else had recruited me, and so I was all set to go to Newport News Apprentice School. And the one and only reason I hadn't gone, I never went to Newport News Apprentice School was the fact that I wasn't old enough. You had to be 18 years to enroll. So
you graduated early then?
I graduated at 17, yes, sir. So I went through my early interview at the apprentice school. I was going to play baseball. I was going to become an electrician. And I was just waiting out my time to my 18th birthday. And in the meantime, I was playing a summer league. I was playing American Legion. I was playing an all-star game, and I struck out 5 out of the 6 batters I faced. And I had a pretty good game, and the next day, Old Dominion offered me a scholarship.
Was Matheny over there then?
No, sir. Mr. Matheny was not there. But Pat McMahon was there, and Jim Farr. Jim Farr is now a scout with the Kansas City Royals, and Pat McMahon went on to become a coach at Mississippi State, University of Florida, and now he's with the New York Yankees. Okay.
So when he saw you and just offered, that was just really, you might have said, wow, what is.
Well, yeah, it was a while. It was so late in the game. Summertime, it was late in the summer. School was starting in about 3 weeks.
Right.
So, and I really had my heart set on this electrician thing. Newport News Apprentice School is a pretty good setup for those who don't know. You learn a trade and you get paid.
And you get to play sports too.
And play baseball. It just seemed like a perfect fit for me.
Right.
I immediately told him, I said, no, thanks. I think I'm going to go to the apprentice school. Go to the apprentice school. And he called back again the next day and offered me a whopping $1,000. So $1,000 isn't a lot of money then, and it wasn't a lot of money now either. But I changed my tune. Talked to a couple of family members. My best friend at the time was going to Old Dominion. He said it's a great opportunity. I talked to my mom and dad, and we gave it a shot. Kind of took a leap on faith, and it seemed to work out.
Right. Now, when you got over there, you're talking about altogether different than pitching against Peninsula District foes. Now you're pitching against college guys.
Correct. But I realized that I wasn't playing high school baseball anymore. But I think it's something we said when you play a higher level competition and stepping your game up a little bit to a different level. So I'm not saying I ever pitched the level of competition, but once I got to a higher competition, I got better coaches, better facilities, better workout regimen. I think I kind of stepped up and stepped into a program. You know, I didn't want to go out there and embarrass myself, and I didn't want the guy next to me to outwork me. So right. I just put that effort into it and tried to be the best I could. And my first year, just seen it work out, and things progressed from there.
Well, what you said right there, and this is something I want the kids that watch this, you was not going to be outworked.
Correct, correct.
And that's important. And well, a lot of people just think, well, I've got an ability, I don't have to work at it, but that's not true.
No. When you get to college level, everybody's good. You know, when you're in high school, you'll find 3 or 4 kids that are good ball players. But at college level, you know, it's so much like a business. You know, there's so much pressure on the coaches. The kids that they bring into the program, you know, are handpicked. They've given them a lot of money, so you know, they all are good and they all want to work hard and they all want to get to the next level. You know, for the most part. But if you go out there and just throw your gloves out there, you're going to have a very small amount of success.
And you're going to have a short career.
And you're going to have a short career. And nowadays, you know, when I was at Old Dominion, you know, once you got in the door, it was pretty tough to kick you out.
Right.
You had to create a crime or just flunk out of school. Nowadays, I don't think it's that difficult. If they don't like the way you're playing or you don't fit in the program, yeah, they'll get you out of there. Right. I know it happens all the time in football.
Right. Now, let me ask you, when you was Old Dominion, did you have a pitching coach that would work with you on your delivery and your wind-up?
I had 2 of the best, actually. Jim Farr was our pitching coach at the time, but Pat McMahon, anybody who knows him, I'm sure Brett Wheeler can attest to this, you know, is one of the most classiest individuals and the best pitching coaches that I'll ever run across. We still talk pitching to this day. We still talk to this day here, just 20 years later. And I just was surrounded by good pitching coaches, you know. So that's, you know, what I enjoy doing is teaching pitching and teaching, you know, what I've learned along the way. Because I had some good ones in minor league baseball. I had some decent ones in pro baseball. But I still can't stop thinking about, you know, the Jim Farrs and the Pat McMahon. They kind of just pushed me into a different level.
Okay, were they kind of like your mentors too? When you finally left that, you remembered what they how they taught you?
You know, after I got drafted, you know, I went to play on. If you go to A-ball, you'll play for one coach, and they all pretty much are on the same page as far as their teaching philosophy. But if it was something about, you know, the way Pat McMahon and Coach Farr, how we spoke and how, you know, what he taught me, you know, I would find myself all the time calling him, say, hey, Coach Mack, I'm not throwing well. I can't get my breaking ball over. Everything's up. You know, I'm just not doing something right. And he knew who he taught me, so he could coach me over the phone.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's something. So, you know, and to this day, you know, I'll never forget the phone calls we had and him fixing my mechanics right over the phone. So much where, you know, before I went to spring training, I would go stay at his house in Florida, you know, stay there for a week or 2. When he was coaching at the University of Florida, I would go stay there, and we would work for a couple of weeks before I headed to spring training. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, you made All-American while you were at Old Dominion.
Correct.
And so you had some good success there.
Yeah.
Then your 3rd year, you get drafted.
Yeah.
4th pick in the 1st round. That's unbelievable. You the man here.
I wouldn't go far as saying I'm the man. It was a thrill. It was a thrill to be drafted so high. But you know, drafting is just the small part. You know, going out on the baseball field, performing, and living up to the expectations that you've been given and the money that they've given you is a tougher part. You know, I'm not sure if you can ever reach the expectations, you know, that they put on you. Some people have, of course, Alex Rodriguez has, and Billy Wagner, who was drafted right close to me, have. Darren Dreifert, his career was, you know, somewhat like mine, kind of cut short. When I say cut short, but you know, not to the levels of Alex and Billy Wagner.
Right.
So.
Now, when you got drafted, did you go? You went to their farm system, I'm assuming,
yes,
right? And where was that?
Batavia, New York. That was my first stop.
Batavia, New York.
Batavia.
I've never been there, so
don't waste your time.
Okay.
Sorry for the people of Batavia, but it wasn't the best place ever. I do remember that was before a cell phone. Everybody had a cell phone, and I wanted to call home, and I remember I had to. You couldn't dial; it was rotary. You know, yeah. So it was a different experience, and I know they told me, hey, you know, it's up to you how long you stay here. So if you do well, we're going to zip you right through.
Right.
And I tell you, I worked my butt to get out of there. So I think I was there about 3 weeks. So.
Okay.
And then I went to Clearwater, Florida, and that just seemed, I felt like at the time I was in the big leagues. So.
Okay, down at Clearwater. And then
that was A-ball. I was a higher level A-ball.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Then when did you get with the Phillies?
I got called up in '97. In '97, I think
right.
June is like a day before my wife's birthday, June 13th.
Okay.
So.
And what was that experience like? Because now, I mean, you played against some great ball players.
Correct.
But now, when you're pitching against great ball players, because they're not, all these people up there are being paid. We're talking pros now.
Yeah, but now. The levels, it's just like going from high school to college. You just, I just say step your game up. You're facing, better caliber players, so you get better, you play harder, you work harder. And it was no different from A-ball to AA, and it wasn't any different from AA to AAA, and I don't think it was much different from AA to AAA. The talent's better, of course.
Right.
It's a lot more money on the line, a lot more pressure. But to me, if you're playing in front of 10,000 fans or you're playing in front of 50,000 fans, it's really all the same to me. The distance is the same, and you just have to go out there and execute.
It's still 90 feet.
It's still 90 feet.
Mentally. Mm-hmm. How is it mentally on you? Because now, do you have in your mind, have you gone over the coaches and how to pitch to certain individuals so that you got the mental game going? When you walk up there, you got to remember, okay.
Well, in the major leagues, you're so much more prepared than you are in the minor leagues, as far as what you know about the hitter.
Right.
We have advanced scouts, and they come to you before a series and say, for example, Barry Bonds, okay? Barry Bonds might be hitting at the time 330 with 40 home runs, but his last 15 at bats, he struck out 10 times, or so forth and so on. So, pitch to him. We're not pitching around him. So, okay. or this guy's just dead pull. Everything he's doing is pulling the ball. So you shift your defense. Or when you get to a certain count, this guy just loves to swing. Or this guy's taking the first pitch. All that stuff you don't have in a minor league. So you're so much more prepared. Like I said, the competition is tougher, but you're giving them so much more knowledge because you don't have advanced scouts in minor leagues. You're just winging it.
Right.
Not necessarily winging it, but you're going on history that you played this guy before, or what your teammates have told you. Not a guy who sat in there and watched the team you're playing
right.
for 4 or 5 straight days and give you the real good inside information of what you're about to get into. So if you execute, more than likely you'll have a good amount of success.
The catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's giving you the signals. Who, and sometimes I see this, no, mm-hmm. we don't want that one.
Right.
Have you both talked about the hitters pretty much?
Correct. It's a lot. Sometimes a lot of shaking and goes on. You'll see the pitcher and catcher, but you've gone over the stuff beforehand, so it's pretty much understand it. If it's too much shaking going on, the catcher come out and talk to you and communicate. Okay. Hey, this is why I want to do that, and so forth and so on. But for the most part, the guys are on pretty much the same page. Now, if they talked about, hey, this guy can't hit a fastball, and for some reason you can't get your fastball over for a strike, then the catcher's probably thinking one thing and you're thinking in your head another thing. So that's why you might see a bunch of shaking and not quite get on the same page going on. But for the most part, they have an idea what they want to do.
But you have to have a lot of confidence in your catcher, though, don't you?
Correct. Yeah. Correct. That's why catcher's a tough position because. Now, first of all, he's the field general. He knows everything what's going on. He takes most criticism. But you have to be able to separate your offense from your defense. A lot of times catchers go out there. Years ago, about 5 years before I was playing, catchers weren't expected to hit. They were the shortstop position and the catching position were like, hey, if you don't hit,
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Catcher, I play, 150 games a year. I'm beat down. If you hit 220 and you can catch and receive, you're fine. Same thing about the shortstop. Just catch every ball and we'll let you hit 220. Now, the way the game is built, everybody has to hit. Right. Everybody's expected to carry their weight in offense and defense. The parks are smaller. It's just become more of a game of a 3-run home run than it is more so of just the strategy of the game. Right. So getting back to my point, I always wanted a catcher who could separate their offense from their defense, because if they're not hitting, a lot of times catcher come back there upset as about his bat, and he'll throw anything down just because he's upset that he just struck out.
Okay.
With runners on second and third. So,
Yeah.
but my catchers I played with, Mike Lieberthal, he was a fairly good hitter, and Benito Santiago in San Francisco, they were good hitters, but they were good about being able to separate the two.
Okay. Now you've finished your career.
Mm-hmm.
You come back to Hampton.
Correct.
And you open up the Virginia Baseball Academy.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Tell me about this.
Well, my last year of playing, I bounced around a little bit. I went back to Philly after being traded to San Francisco and Boston. I got released a couple times, and I went overseas a couple times. So the whole time I knew I wanted to, do something with kids.
Right.
I can remember being in Scranton, Pennsylvania, where my career was winding down, having a kind of a plan and a design of a building, the different programs I wanted to do. I just had a plan that was after baseball, and it's just something I always wanted to do. I knew I did not want to coach minor league baseball. I knew I didn't want to go into a front office, but I just always had a desire, to coach young kids. I really enjoy it.
Well, and this plan you developed while you were in your twilight of your career.
Well, yeah, it was winding down.
But something that was always there.
Yeah, it was winding down, and I knew I needed a plan B here, and I knew what it didn't consist of. I just knew what I enjoyed.
Right.
When I was playing baseball, even at Old Dominion, we had to do camps.
Right.
And I found a thrill. I just got a thrill out of it. When I played pro ball, we had to do camps. For the teams that we were on. When we got to major leagues, we had to do some certain amount of community service. And I always volunteered. And I never thought of it as a job. I enjoyed seeing young people and always giving them the information that's been passed along to me. So I enjoy what I do, and I get a thrill out of it.
All right, so now your camp is over at the YMCA on LaSalle.
It's attached to the Hampton. It's attached to the Hampton YMCA. Where it is the YMCA, it's the Social Services Building, and I'm in the middle. I have a baseball field, full diamond baseball field with a scoreboard and 2 mounds, and with actually 3 mounds, 2 bullpen mounds and a game mound, concession stand. I built it up. The city of Hampton was nice enough to rent that space to me for over 15 years, and I built Virginia Baseball Academy inside the Hampton YMCA.
All right, tell me about what goes on and how the kids get involved with the academy.
They can just come by. The kids can just come by. I take them. I just show up. We have tryouts for the local little leagues. We have several camps. We have summer camps. We have spring break camps. The wintertime, people ask me during the wintertime, what do I do? Believe it or not, the wintertime is the busiest time, because everybody's preparing for the upcoming season. The summertime, the kids pop in there to hit maybe, but they can get so much done outside, and they're playing. It's just not for them to do inside. Baseball's an outdoor game, and they want to be playing outdoor. So.
So you have batting cages inside?
Oh, so I have six indoor batting cages. Each cage is 70 feet. We have pitching machines. We have the state-of-the-art pitching machine and fielding machine called Fungo Man. If you ever get a chance to look that up, called Fungo Man. It throws ground balls, it throws bunts, and it throws a ball over the fence. It's just unbelievable. It can throw a knuckleball, curveball.
Wow.
It's like a gigantic robot that can throw baseballs. So we have that, and mounds. It's just baseball. It's just baseball heaven.
But now this is inside, but you have the field outside.
I have both.
Once you get the weather's nice, you get them outside.
Correct.
What goes on there?
Outside?
Yeah.
I have a fall high school baseball league.
Okay.
I ran this year. It consisted of Grafton, Kecoughtan, Hampton, Phoebus. I think Warwick was in there. Had some good high school teams in there, and they just play a calmer baseball. It's, not the intense. They trying to change the rules. Sometimes they might bat 6 guys in the same inning. It's just kind of more of a relaxed atmosphere of playing baseball. My vision is one day, I'm not sure how we could work with the VHSL, is to have a South Side versus Peninsula baseball tournament. Okay. But the VHSL permits only 18 games during the spring, so I'm not sure how I could work. Maybe I'll have to make it just for the fall, but that's my goal. Something like what Ronald Curry does for basketball.
Do you coach make sure the kids get all the fundamentals right? You have other people helping you?
Well, for the teams, for the high school teams, their coaches coach them.
Okay.
I coach a travel baseball team called the 61s, and they have the same name.
The 61s.
Correct. We
okay.
have an 8, a 9, a 10, an 11, and a 13-year-old team. So I coach the 10-year-old team. I oversee and instruct the rest of them as they come in. But the 10-year-old team is the one in which my son is on. Is the one I kind of steer my attention to.
Okay.
Well, I focus on all of them.
Right.
But I have a vested interest in.
Yeah. Well, I can see that. Right. Tell me about some of the guys that you've got down. And I know we talked about Jake Cave. He's up-and-coming young man over at Kickintan, and I was fortunate enough to coach his daddy at Sims Junior High School. He played basketball for me when he was over there. Played basketball and baseball. His best sport was baseball.
Well, it's funny you ask. I've had 6 kids who came through the academy this year. They signed Division I contracts.
Wow.
Six. Nick Thompson from East Carolina. He just is going to East Carolina.
My alma mater.
This kid is very impressive. Has a 4.7 GPA. I think he got a 2,000 on his SAT. He's a flat-out stud on the baseball field. He's just an all-around, good kid.
Right.
Aaron Myers, Aaron Myers is going to Lewisburg. Dakari Cook is going to West Point Army. Jared Lyons is going to Liberty University. I'm forgetting 2 more. Jake Cave is going to LSU, and Patrick Corbick's going to Coastal Carolina. So I remember all those guys. So wow. They've all came through the academy in some form or another, either through my showcase or I've instructed them, and I'm proud because that was my goal when I started this.
Right.
If they all don't make it to the big leagues, I mean that's so what. But the fact that I had the opportunity to go to college and get an education, and I think I've had my hands on them, so that's rewarding.
And that is, as a coach, I tell people that the greatest compliment I can get is a guy I coached years ago.
Correct.
Mike Dunn comes to example. Mike was on the football team at Bethel High School, won the first state championship in '74. He sees me, still calls me coach.
Really?
I mean, it's just like somebody calling you dad.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, so I know how you're feeling. But these young men, now, these came through your system, have been there for
a couple of them have been, like Nick Thompson. Nick Thompson, I got Nick when he was 13. Another kid I got going on next year, he's going to Virginia Tech. His name is Tim Kelly. I got Tim when he was 12 or 13. Now he's got a scholarship to Virginia Tech. He's only a junior. So some of these kids I've had for quite a while. So it's a good feeling.
Okay. Now we're going to wrap this thing up, but I want you just to kind of give not only your philosophy, but if you were talking to a young kid that you saw some potential, what would you tell him about your camp and about the academy and that sort of thing?
Well, I would tell them, if you want to learn the game of baseball, if you want to learn the game of the baseball as I know it, come here. I hold nothing back. I hold nothing back, and every part of what I offer the kids is something that's been taught to me by Pat McMahon, by Vern Rule, who's passed away, as far as pitching, as far as Hal McCray, who's a hitting instructor in Philadelphia. Some of the players I played with, Barry Bonds, Pedro Martinez. Love him or hate him, Kurt Schilling. I talked to Kurt yesterday, some of the guys that taught me how the game was supposed to be played.
Right.
Terry Francona, taught me how the game was supposed to be managed. He won a World Series in Boston. So, that's what I have to offer. Whatever I'm offering the kids is pretty much regurgitated from what guys who've had a lot of success have taught me. So, like I say, no idea is original. And if I say something on the baseball field to a person, I just haven't made it up. It's because I've seen it work. I instill it in my habits myself, and I've seen it work. So,
I appreciate you, really do. Thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest Wayne Gomes for taking time to come down and talk to us today. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time.